What is your personal history with the Power Rangers? Like, what's your first ever memory of who these 5 beings were?
Oh, well, okay, so my first memory is probably when I was around 4 years old, and I had moved from mainland China to Hong Kong, and all of my extended family lives in China. We grew up together, so I was obviously very sad, and my mom had bought me this little yellow Power Ranger action figure, and it's the first action figure that I've ever had because I never had Western toys before. Had all these movable joints and legs, came with a motorcycle, and I didn't know that it was a Power Ranger then. I only realized that after I moved to North America and saw the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series. I recalled, wow, that's what it was. It began way back then.
Mine was just watching Power Rangers with my brothers. Me, Broderick, and Steven used to all just watch the Mighty Morphin movie over and over again, like on repeat, literally on repeat. And then the cassette tape sometime would mess up because we would leave it running for 4 hours. And yeah, that's kind of bad. And so we would have to fix it, and everybody would look. It would be like checking to see if an iPhone screen had done broke, because it's just like, okay, it's all right, everybody breathe. Just breathe. It's cool. But yeah, Power Rangers was a big little thing in our house, yeah.
And you, Dacre?
I mean, my first memory really was seeing these guys in the suits, because I didn't watch it as a kid. So I remember the day we were out having a fitting, and we all cycled through in a couple of hours. And my first real memory was seeing RJ in a head-to-toe poop suit, this big brown suit.
Why is me in a poop suit the first thing that comes to you? You need to talk to your therapist. What do you dream about?
But I guess, yeah, to say that I didn't have that. You know, I had a lot of other toys when I was a kid, but never RJ in a poop suit.
Then from a nerd standpoint, like growing up watching, like when you knew that you were part of this, at some point, how does one kind of get over the fact that this is part of your childhood?
You don't get over it. You don't get over it.
Why get over it?
Embrace that thing.
Nice.
Yeah, don't get over it. Each memory is valuable and wonderful. So embrace it, and actually don't get over it. Pay it forward. Pay it to the next generation.
Yeah.
Has it been interesting? Have you had interactions with like a younger generation to watch, you know, like seeing them see this version of the Power Rangers, and what has it been like for you to kind of observe this like wide-eyed like discovery?
In fact, just before we started our interview, a crew over here showed me her daughter dressed in the Pink Ranger suit from later in the series. And during signings and stuff, we had tons of just little kids coming up to us and from different parts of the world. I had this Japanese little boy dressed up as Superman come up to us in San Diego, and he was like doing these.
Kids
cool
make it
photos
extra
and stuff.
cool, right? So I got
really
two
cool.
nieces and a nephew, right?
This small.
And they love watching the trailer because it's just like, oh, that's Uncle JJ. But then when I come around, they're like, oh, whatever. It's just Uncle JJ. But then when they leave, they freak out, you know? But it's really cool to be able to give that like sense of, okay, if my uncle can do it, I can do it to my nieces and nephews, and also to other little kids. Like we met the coolest kid, Kai. Oh my goodness, Kai stole my heart, you know. And it was just like to see how much Power Rangers meant to him at such a young age, and it blows my mind. But it also makes me really, really excited. Like Dacre with a lifetime supply of sparkling water, you know, that excited.
What I loved about this version is the fact that you actually see them as real outcasts. Because I think in the past, it's always kind of like, oh, they're outcasts, and it's just we have to take it for face value. But actually, we're actually seeing them as people who don't fit in. And so it's kind of a nice interpretation of these characters. And I'm just wondering, what was it like for you to kind of be a part of something which really goes to the origin and spends a lot of time breaking them down, and we don't actually see the Power Rangers until maybe like almost an hour into the film.
Yeah, I mean, at the risk of getting too philosophical, I think it was really special. I hope the audience feels special. I feel like I want it to be an expose that's so universal that people really feel like Ludi's been saying earlier, that every person has a Power Ranger that they connect with. Not just a Power Ranger, but the human. You know, what troubles are they going through in high school? What are they having to deal with? And the fact that we get that escape, I mean, isn't that why that's why I watch film and TV. Mm-hmm. I want to see something opened up, and I want to see it exposed, and then I want to escape in that realm. And I want the people in that realm to give me the most visceral, exciting experience that when I leave, I feel like I have had a beautiful insight. And regardless of what the film is now or what it becomes, that's what we set out to make. And that's what I found so special. And I feel privileged that the creatives in the studio gave us the space to really do it with no boundaries and feel as if there was this limitless, just area to be who we are. And that's why I'm an actor.
One of the positives is actually, RJ, your character, you're very open about being on the spectrum, and it's just really nice to see a kid who is on the spectrum, who is, and kind of deals with it in his own way, but there's, and so can you talk about what it's like the responsibility of like kind of being a character like that? How did you kind of understand? Do you know anybody in your world that?
Well, yeah, actually one of my really good friends from high school, his name is Andre, right? So he used to be in band with us. And Andre used to play the flute, and he used to be really, really good at, like, you could not test Andre when it came to knowing notes, knowing his sheet music. Andre knew it better than everybody that was on the line, But Andre was on the spectrum. It was one of those things where people would not know him and then act like, judge him or this and that, but he's literally one of the brightest minds that I've ever known and came into contact with, right? So it was really cool being able to play a character that in some ways is kind of reflects Andre a little bit, because I found myself doing some stuff in Billy that I would remember Andre doing, like even when we were in a conversation, right? So the responsibility that I feel like is on Billy is just to show another side of what, being on the spectrum may mean to some people, because some people they don't understand that everybody's not on the spectrum, So they see it just from this side, like, oh, this person has a problem, or it's not a problem. It's just them being different from us, But they still want the same things. They still want to be loved. They still want friends. They still want that companionship. They still just want somebody to talk to. And I feel like I did a good job in showing that in Billy, and I'm really proud of it. Yeah.
It's nice. But I gotta ask, one of the nice things about watching this film and your performance was that when you spoke Mandarin, you were speaking in a real Mandarin accent, as opposed to when we see Mandarin represented in film, and actually it didn't have an accent. It actually was a Mandarin person. So was that something that you wanted to make sure that you wanted to because it's such a painful thing when I watch people speaking Mandarin in Western movies, and I'm just like, it's not the real thing. And so I'm just wondering, like, was that a take on your end that you had to like kind of make sure that even in that one scene, it was like,
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal for me, actually. And I'm born Chinese, and I've been living in Beijing, the capital of China, for the past 5 years, because I want to create films that not just appeal to one audience, something international. I want to break that caricature of a lot of Asian characters on screen, where it almost seems like they're fairly careless at what comes across as like an Asian language. As long as it sounds like something foreign, then it's okay. But it's not okay, because there are foreign people, and with technology these days, and especially an IP like Power Rangers that's going to be seen all over the world, you want to make sure that it's authentic. Why do you make sure that the special effects are on point, the acting is on point, everything about the story is on point, but you neglect such a fundamental thing about the character? So I want to get that right. And our director, Dean Israelite, he was so open to discussing it, and we had talked over these scenes a long time. He wanted to make sure that the translations, the subtitles, and by the way, it's a pretty big deal to get a foreign dialogue, especially in Mandarin, in an American film like this. So he wanted to make sure not only the translations and the subtitles are right, but the connotations come across. So I really appreciated that, and I hope the audience does too.